How does someone creep into a basement, murder someone, then disappear right before your eyes? It took police 4 years to work it out. It was October 2014 in beautiful Martinsville, Illinois. Kaylyn Whitaker was just 20 years old and she was a student at Ivy Tech College. She was incredibly creative. She was an amazing artist. She had this really creative flair. And she was also an amazing musician. She played the cello. She was very talented. She got on with anyone she met. She was a really warm, friendly girl. And she was also a family girl. She had 2 older brothers and she was super close with all her family. And she was living with her fiance, Connor Scott. Now, money was a bit tight. They were both pretty young and they were actually living in Connor's parents' basement. It kind of meant that they had their own space and privacy, but not massive bills. But on Halloween night, tragedy struck. Kaylyn and Connor were home alone in bed just before midnight. And Connor was like, suddenly I woke to the loudest noise. A full-on bang right in his ear. And when he looked over, Kaylyn was dead. He immediately grabbed the phone, he rang 911 and he was like, a gun has just gone off and my girlfriend is dead. He's like, she's not breathing, but there's nobody else in the house. And the dispatcher's like, well, if nobody else is in the house, do you think she did this to herself? And he was like, well, I really don't think so. He said all he could see now was a gun on the floor. And when police got to the scene, there were even more questions than answers. What really didn't make sense about this crime scene is that if this was really a self-unaliving, she was right-handed, so why was the gunshot in the left side of her head? Had someone snuck in and then in the chaos managed to sneak out undetected? I mean, investigators really could not make sense of this crime scene. They hadn't got any viable suspects, so the case was ruled as a self-unaliving. But they just couldn't be sure, so work was going on behind the scenes. 10 months later, after further testing, the case was reclassified, this time as a homicide. And Kaylyn's parents were absolutely horrified. They were like, what do you mean? This means that a killer is just on the loose. Terrified and with no real answers, they had to struggle on with their lives. And Connor seemed to try and move on too. He started dating a new girl. Until something happened that blew this case wide open. By this point, it was 2019, and like I said, Connor had been dating other people. He was with another girlfriend. But suddenly, one night, police were called. Connor was absolutely wasted, with a loaded weapon, threatening to unalive himself. His girlfriend said that she had told him she wanted to break up, and he was like, I will pull the trigger right now. Now, thankfully, police raced over to the scene, grabbed the loaded weapon off him, and managed to take him to hospital to sober up. But it got people thinking, was Connor really innocent after all? And this kind of rumbled on for a couple of weeks until police and Connor met once again. But this time, he strolled into the police station to make a confession. It was me who killed Kaylyn. After all these years of lying to cover his tracks, manipulating the situation, finally, the family had answers. He was obviously charged with murder, but after speaking with lawyers, he decided to plead not guilty. And it was only after months that he finally accepted a plea deal and did plead guilty to this crime. And I don't know about you guys, what you think about this situation, but sometimes I do think that killers just like to have the power and the control. Sometimes I just feel like they like to mess with the family and just do anything that they can to be obstructive. Thankfully, though, he was eventually given 37 years behind bars.